Hey guys, welcome to another video. Today we're working on these. We've got a Stihl BG55 and a Stihl FS45 trimmer. The 55 is a blower. We're going to go over these things. It's still winter here. It's just the end of February, but customer brought these over and wants me to go just give them a once over, make sure they're going to be good for the season coming up. So we're gonna go through them, tune them up, new plug, check the carbs, things like that. I have already dumped out old fuel and put some fresh premix in there, and they both run. The blower, the customer says it has to run on choke for quite a while before it'll run without the choke. So I'm thinking it's just going to be a fuel pump and a metering diaphragm is going to start to be hardened up on it. But we're going to open them up anyways and have a look inside there, clean them out. Stihl has a really nice muffler on them where you can take the spark arrestor screen out and you can clean them. It's one of the things it's regular maintenance on them. It's nice that they do it. It's very easy to clean them. You just hit them with a torch, burn the carbon off, a little wire brush action, and then you're all set to go. So what I'm going to do is I'll put one aside and I'll jump in on one of the units, and we're just going to do a quick tear down, change the plug, pull the carb, have a look, and see what goes on. So we'll get you set up where you need to be seeing, and we'll get some tools out and we'll jump into her. Alright, well I decided to jump on the trimmer first, the FS45. So this one actually runs really good. There's not a whole bunch we need to do with it. I'm not going to pull the carburetor apart on this one. We are going to check the air filter though. That's just a fibrous disc. It's not all plugged up. It's not dripping with oil. We're okay. It's normal to have a little bit of fuel oil mix on that. But yeah, that seems to be good. I'm not even going to bother with it because that's it's functioning. So get that cleaner put back on there. Now this has a Bosch spark plug in it, which is very common. You'll find a Bosch in this. Is a W6, I don't know, W something. Anyways, it cross references over to a NGK number, and those are the ones I stock. I stock the BPMR7As. That's what it cross references over. I did have a quick peek at the blower, and it does already have an NGK in it, so it's been replaced, but it's not horrible. But it's likely original. It's dirty. It's gonna get a new one. It's a number on it. WSR6F. Yep, it's gonna get something else in it. BPMR7A. Let me just grab one over here. BPMR7A is a very, very common spark plug for a lot of Stihl products. I looked at the specs. Specs say 20 thou on the gap, so that's where it's going to be. Yep, it's good to go. There you go. Shiny new NGK. Come on. I like the camera. It takes 3 days to focus. BPMR7A. Well, it's a part. Well, that's out of there. I'm just going to have a gander down the cylinder here. Make sure I don't see anything that's a possible upcoming problem. The bore is shiny. No scratches in it. I'm happy with that. Like I said, it did run. It runs just fine. It's just seasonal tune-up. I don't think it's ever been looked at if it's got the original Bosch plug in it, because I think even at our local dealer here, when they service things, they put NGKs in. There we go. Snug but not too tight. That's done. Okay, so we're going to get into that little muffler thing I was telling you about. It's a 15 millimeter on this one, and typically that's what they are, 15 for everything. So it's just a little narple hanging out of the end of the muffler here. Sometimes they're very tight, sometimes they come out okay. All depends on how long ago it was that they got removed. This should be a regular part of your maintenance. There we go. Here's that spark arrestor screen. It's not covered, but it is partially obstructed. So because the vise is tied up with a weed whacker in it, I'm going to clamp these in my vice grips and I'll burn that off with a torch. Get a video of that. So actually, you know what, I think that's probably near the end of it on this one. There's not a whole lot else to go with it. So grab a pair of vice grips, I'll grab the torch, we'll get you swung around a little bit, get you on the bench, and we'll show you that process. Okay, I just started warming it up a little bit with my torch. My torch is very hot, so I'm going to leave it turned down a little bit. Just, you don't want to melt the thing, you just want it to get nice and hot. You can see it starting to glow there. That's the carbon starting to glow. There you go. There's enough oil on it that it's burning by itself. Get you backed out just a little bit. So I just let it warm up and burn off. Let it char itself. And then just follow it up with a little wire brush. That's all. Quite a bit on this one. What we're trying to do with the torch here is just heat it up to a point where the oil becomes ash, and then just brush it off. You can see it's turning white now. So I'm just going to carefully just brush it, just to get those pieces of carbon and crap off of there. Give her a little more at the base there. That's it. That's all you need. Just clean it up a little bit, and open up the passages for the exhaust to go through. Sometimes if this is very, very plugged, or you can see the brush behind it, nice and clear now. Sometimes if that's extremely plugged, what'll happen is you'll get, you'll feel like you got too much compression. Try and rip pull cord out of your hands. Ooh, that's still spicy. Yeah, give it a chance to cool. Well, yeah, that'll work too. So yeah, just be careful when you're doing this stuff. It is hot. You just hit it with a torch. So get her started again. There we are. So new plug. Clean out the spark arrestor. Just snug that down. Doesn't have to be crazy tight because you don't want to have to heat it up with a torch to get it out next time. And yeah, it's a pretty solid machine. It's in good shape. It already ran, so I think we're good there. I'm going to spray it down. Just put some cleaner on it and clean everything on the outside of the carburetor. And I'm going to run it with some fresh fuel in it, and I'll use these high and low mixture screws there to just adjust the carb and make sure it's running the way it should be. What we'll do now is probably just move on to the leaf blower. No room on the bench for that, obviously. There's a big Kohler engine sitting here, but this is just clamped to my vise. I got a pair of soft jaws in there, clamped on the shaft of the trimmer just to hold it up for me, but the blower will have to do on the hoist. Stand by, we'll jump into that one. Okay, let's jump into this one. The muffler outlet on this one is in the front. Yeah, it's right here. Can't see squat. It felt like the socket slipped. Oh, that one's perfectly clean. That's 15. See, you see through this one? Perfectly clean. Don't even have to heat it. Good to check it though. They will plug up very early if you run your mixture too rich in oil. Or if you don't run them hot. Two strokes like the rev, so you gotta get them revving. Get them hot and working properly. All right, let's get these out of here. We're gonna take the recoil off because I have a feeling we're gonna be taking the carb off. 1, 2, 3, and that one. It looks like it. 4. Whoop, just slides right out. Everything looks good in there. That's got a BPMR 7A in it. We're just going to change it, put a new one in. Oh yeah, sure we are. Wrench. Wow, tolerances are pretty tight in there. Hardly get anything in. Oh, come on. Come on now. There we go. Crack her loose. Dropped a screw somewhere, or maybe more than one. Let's get that plug out of the way. Come on, out of there. Wow, that is tight tolerances in there. Yep, here we go. A little dirty, a little old. Let's get a new one. Off the shelf over here. There's also a champion number you can use. RCJ7Y is a champion number that interchanges with this one. So you can check the gap at 20 thou. Yep. Let's have a peek down the cylinder. Just looking for scratches, for damage, especially on the exhaust side. If you can see any scratches over there, you're in trouble. Not seeing anything over there, so should be good. Let me get that new plug fired in there. Yeah, I think we're going to be pulling the carb off of this one. I've got the ultrasonic cleaner already warming up. So he said this one does, it runs okay, but needs to choke for quite a while before it'll run. It's got to warm up quite a while before it'll run without a choke. So I think it's a little lean. Good and snug. There we go. Let's set back down. Let's have a look at that air filter. Slightly different than the one from the trimmer. It's got the fiber on this side and sponge on this side. It's got some oil in it, but nothing too crazy. See if it's oversaturated. I usually just put it in a paper towel like this, fold it over, and then press real hard to see if anything squeezes out. Very minimal, so I'm gonna hit it with a blow gun, just blow dust out of it. That one will be good to put back together. But let's get that carburetor off of there. A couple of 8mm nuts in behind here. One in the middle. Let's get that. One holds the air cleaner on anyways. Probably two hold the carburetor on when we get there. Oh, another one at the top. There it is. There's just two. It's just full of crap. I can't see it. There we go. There's our air cleaner base. Fuel lines. Let me get my special tool to get them off. You don't need it. Regular needle nose pliers will work. I got the tool for the job. Look at that. It's just a wedge. Basically, you just stick it on there between the fuel line and the carburetor and pop it out. Look at that. The brass part of the carburetor came out. Just gives you a little grip. There you go. Just shove them down. We'll have to get that out of the fuel line and then press it back into the carburetor when we're done. Carburetor should come apart away from the intake now, I would think. Oh, something's still holding it. What do we got? What do we got here? Oh, there we go. Just stuck to the gasket. Come on. Do you have the length? It doesn't want to come off the studs. Well, let's just take these screws out. Might just be the only thing holding it together. That one. And this one. And this one. Only three. Looks like it. Looks like it. Possibly this one from the other side, but I don't know. Nope, there we go. Oh, I should have done this while I had the spark plug out. Well, there you go. Now we know. Take the spark plug back out just to give us a little more room. That's okay. Now this should slide out. Yep. Now we can disconnect our throttle linkage up here. Just straight off, actually. Just slide straight off of that. We can disconnect it from the carb, and that should come right out. Yep, there we go. That doesn't look too horrible. I mean, it's messy on the outside, but it is what it is. I'm going to hit it with a little carb spray and brake clean so we don't introduce more garbage into there. And then we'll get a couple of screws out of it to see what the diaphragms and stuff look like. Let me get that cleaned up, and then we'll cut back into the camera here. Alright, give the carb a quick external cleaning just to get most of the junk off of it. See what we got going on in here. There's our fuel pump. A little screen down in here, gotta make sure it doesn't get plugged up full of crap. That's your fuel inlet filter. Not ideal. Well, it's not full of junk. I'll just set that there. Let's get the median diaphragm part off. Our primer bulb. Oh, come on. There's our top block. No junk in there. Meter and diaphragm's not that bad, actually. Not very crusty. That's okay. I'll get another one anyways. So I got it apart now. Might as well put one in it because They are notorious for hardening up and stopping working. Okay, so there's a little chunk of stuff in there. A few little chunks of things in there. I don't know if you can see that. A little chunk there. It's like glue. Ah, you know, I just watched a video. Terrell Fixes All. This is sealer that Stihl, or Walbro, or who was it? Zama? Walbro? Whose is this? Zama. They use a sealer around these Welsh plugs. And that's what's floating around in there. And that can give you grief and plug up some stuff. There wasn't a lot of it in here, but there was some. Let's pull this little guy out of here. Make sure it's not plugged up. No, it's clear. Okay, well, it is not going to hurt to put this in the ultrasonic cleaner for 10 minutes. Let her do its thing. I'm going to try and match up some metering diaphragms and gaskets here. We'll give it a shot of blowgun when it comes out of the ultrasonic cleaner. Yeah. That's what we're doing. Back in a sec. Alright, she's out of her bath. All cleaned up. Blown out with the compressed air. So let's get our new gasket and metering valve on there. Gasket. Metering valve. Metering diaphragm. It's not a metering valve. Okay. What's that? Oh, the primer bulb. She's no good. Needed a new one. Got a new one. Gently now. We're just going to start that. And that'll line up our gasket plates and everything. I don't run them down with this. But it does get them started. Okay, I'll grab a screwdriver. They'll just nice and evenly run them down, just so they touch. That's good. I'm just going to do a crisscross pattern until they're good and snug. That one's good. That one's good. Good. And good. Okay. This end of the lever here is where our idle screw touches. Fuel pump diaphragm and gasket. Here we go. Make sure it sets in there real nice. Sometimes you got to wiggle the throttle to get the pressure off that idle screw. So the old metering diaphragm wasn't bad, this one here, but it's a common failure point, so we'll just put a new one in while we're in there. That was definitely a problem. All right, that's good to go now. So this gasket's still in great shape. Let me just make sure there's no junk getting behind it. Wipe the dirt off. Throw her back on there. That's good. Make sure that this part, this carb spacer, and make sure they don't loosen off either. Give you a vacuum leak. That's all good. Let's get this puppy back on there. Just put it back on the way it came off, which is like so. No, dumbass. This way. Fuel lines out of the way. Okay, she's seated. We'll just pop the fuel lines on now, since I got it in my hand anyway. That's that. Get our throttle rod back in there. Get it into the trigger. What is going? There you go. Yep, it's good to go. Get the moth out of there. Make sure none of these wires get pinched when you put that side cover back on. That would be a bad day. Got a little trough there to sit in. There we go. Recheck the throttle. Yep, everything's good. Make sure the lock works. It does. Okay, that's good. Let's get our screws back in here. Two and three. There. There? Yeah. Let's get those buttoned in. Make sure everything's sitting nice and square. Yep. 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 There we go. Nice. Carb base, or the air filter base, cleaned it. Give her a little shot of brake clean and compressed air. Get you wiggled back into your spot there. Now this is usually nice and interesting. These tiny little screws, or nuts. There's one. And oh, look at that. Started. Snug. Use a short socket, might get in there a little easier. A little shallow socket. Just go back and forth, make sure you tighten down things evenly. Okay. There's our choke. Choke on and off. Air filter's going back in. Let's give that a quick shot with the compressed air. That's good. Get her back in her home. And the cover. There we go. I don't think I have left any fuel in there. No, I did not. Let's get a little bit of this fresh fuel in there. Some 50-to-1. I want to check that primer bulb, make sure it's primering. Should be enough. Take a few shots because the carb is completely empty. Oh, I see fuel going in there already. Yep, she's working pretty good. That should be all right. Get our recoil starter put back on there. Actually, let's get this back in there. It's easier to do with the covers and everything off. There we go. There we go. I did find that screw I dropped. So there's 3 of these with the finer threads. They go in the front, and that last one with the really coarse thread goes up in the very, very top. Okay, see what happens. You didn't see hardly any of that because I forgot to zoom. God. One day I'll figure it out. Okay, choke is on. Yeah, switch is on. Oh, it fired. Let's get her on the ground. Well, there we go. Finally. Wouldn't start earlier because instead of putting the choke on, I actually turned the choke off. So it was not flooded. I had the choke in the wrong position. Whatever. So that's choke on, that's choke off. I had it, it was on. I put it over here to try and start it. So anyways, yeah, brain fart. It's Sunday. I'm tired. Anyways, that's gonna wind up this video. Got these 2 machines ready for the season. They didn't need much. It's not as if they weren't running. This one was not ideal. I did have to mess with the mixtures. The idle speed is fine now. But both machines should be good to go for the upcoming season. Thanks for joining me, guys, on this video. Don't forget to give me a thumbs up and leave a comment down below. Got a lot more of this stuff coming up. Timing of me uploading videos is off, so I try and upload snowblower stuff during the winter and tractor and outdoor equipment stuff during the summer, but it's the winter time and I'm working on this stuff, so the timing is all over the place. Anyways, don't forget to subscribe and tinkle that bell icon. It'll notify you when I upload new videos. Until the next one, take care.